Hey friends, let's look at problem 904, fruit into baskets. Here again, we're going to use two-pointer sliding window method. And hopefully, if you have practiced using our playlist in the YouTube channel, you should be no fear for this kind of problem. So here, I'm not going to go over the problem statement, but here let me point out the constraints. So here the fruit length can be as long as 10 to the power fifth. So in other words, we need to consider time complexity. And also fruit I is greater than or equal to 0, less than the length. In other words, at most you have n taps, where n is the length, right? So with that said, basically the main idea would be the following, right? So for this problem, so assume that we have two pointers. So you have a left and you have R. So basically for each index or for each right pointer R, so we want to find the smallest L such that so the fruits from L to R, both inclusive, contains at most 2 types of fruits, right? So this way, the total number of fruits we can collect ending at this index will be fruits we can collect, or the amount of fruit we can collect will be R minus L plus 1, right? So we just need to find the max among all such L and R pairs, right? So find the max of this quantity, right, among all these R right indexes. That's what we're going to do. So here again, as I mentioned in the channel, or if you have practiced a lot, see the monotonicity is crucial for using this method. So here assume that you have an R1, its corresponding left index will be L1. You have R2, and the corresponding left index is L2. Then if R1 is less than R2, in other words, R2 is to the right of the pointer R1, then we should have L1 is less than or equal to L2. If you think of this interpretation, right, for each R, we want to find the smallest L, such that this contains at most 2 types of fruits. Because you increase R increase, it might be introduced new types of fruits. So that's why you have L1 is less than or equal to L2. It can be equal. So once you realize this point of monotonicity, it should be no difficulty in writing the code. So now let me first write a code, and then I'm going to make some comments. So first I'm going to initialize a result. So this result variable and its final state is what we want to return. So here I have a left pointer, right? So here again, so when you do two-pointer sliding window method, you can always write in terms of while loop and for loop. So here I'm going to write with for loop because it's more convenient sometimes, but a while loop is more wide. So for R in range, so let me introduce this in. It's just a habit, right? So for in range m, right? So then also we need to have a window, right? Let's call it window. It's called collections default dict, right? So actually int. So actually we can just use a counter. That would be sufficient. Both are okay. Let me use a counter. So now what do we do? Actually, when we add this current character, so we are going to do window fruits and R is incremented by 1, right? And then what we can do is this. So well the length of this window is greater than 2, then we are going to shift the pointer to the right, the left pointer. Yeah. So if window fruits and L equals 1, right? So in this case, if we decrement by 1, and it's going to be 0, so we are going to directly dial this key. Oh, this is the 1. Otherwise, it will be greater than 1. So in this case, we just do this one is decremented by 1. So once we do this else, if else block, we can always push L to the right by 1 unit, L increment by 1, right? So then once we exit this while loop, then from L to R, this window, so we have at most 2 types of fruits, right? So the number of keys in this window will be the number of types of the fruits. So the result will be updated like this. The result, the pre-state, and then the current R minus L plus 1. Then you can do return. You can return this result. So this is actually a full solution or full coding to this problem. Let me first do a test. Yeah, it passes the 3 test cases. Now let's look at the generic case. Yeah, it passes all the generic cases. So here we might slightly do it differently, right? So this can be regarded as the first comment. So what we can do is this. Let me copy this part, and then I use this one as version v1. So we introduce a new variable called indistinct. Distinct, the different types, right? So in this case, what we are going to do is this. If window fruits R is 0, right? So in this case, so we do indistinct is increment by 1, right? So in any way, so we are going to do this, right? So this is the one. So here, what we can do, again, we can change this one to be the indistinct. If this is greater than 1, so here we can do this del, and then what we can do also is to do this distinct is decrement by 1, right? So actually we even don't need to do this, but let's keep this. Let me test that first. Yeah, submit that. Yeah, actually for this problem, the second code and the first one is sort of the same, because you might mention that we need a long for loop to check all the keys, but because of this while loop, actually each window can have at most 3 keys in all the process. That's why we can keep version v1. So though here we introduce this one, right? So it's basically no big difference in time complexity. So that's the first comment on the format of the coding. So the second comment is that, so when you do 2-pointer sliding window method, in order to make it logically sound, you need to have a feeling or intuitively check or understand this monotonicity. This can be very important. So this is the second comment. With that said, I guess that's basically about it for the current problem. So we have a playlist in our channel, especially for 2-pointer sliding window methods, and it has a big collection of problems. You are welcome to check out those videos. Actually, if you practice more, you are going to recognize the pattern. So once you recognize the pattern, actually you can adapt to different problems. Actually, this is also the direct outcome of continuous practice. So with that said, I guess that's it for the current video. Thank you for watching.